Check this out, it is a Porsche Taycan 4S Cross Turismo. The names are getting longer than the car itself, 4.97 meters long. It's a chonker. Price and range, this machine will set you back 215 grand, and that is for the stock standard bone dry version with no options, and you're going to want some options. However, range, well, up until a few days ago, this model did 452 k's per charge, but it's since had an over-the-air software update and now does 490 kilometers on one charge. Very impressive. And acceleration, 0 to 100 in a very schnell 4.1 seconds. There's so much more to talk about though. I am in love with this thing already. And like many love affairs, this one could cost me my house, but it'd be worth it for its tech specs alone. With this 2.2 ton beast having 360 kilowatts on tap anytime, and with Overboost and Launch Control, it ramps up to 420 kilowatts and 650 newton meters of torque. Its 93 kilowatt hour battery gives it great range per charge. The handling is biblical, and just wait until you see the charging speed. And despite its serious, striking exterior and angry German performance, inside the car it's so surprisingly comfortable I'll change the music to something soothing instead. I mean, let's start from the cathedral of glass overhead which illuminates those leather seats, which are ventilated and fully adjustable, as is the steering wheel. And in front of you is that Porsche dashboard loaded with functionality and convenience like dual displays with haptic feedback and even cup holders in a sports car. You've also got voice control and live traffic data, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, 4 USB ports throughout, wireless charging, a 14-speaker 710 watt Bose surround sound system which includes a subwoofer, an optional heads-up display, you name it. And despite its low roofline, rear seat passengers get decent room, although I wouldn't want to be taller than 6 feet, and it has improved storage capacity as well, with boot space of 405 litres, being an 11% improvement over the Taycan GTS I reviewed earlier. Plus it has a front booty of 84 litres and a PSC of 35, which is a 16% improvement on the GTS. Overall, the 4S Cross Turismo is a great blend of performance and functionality, and now that I've blown the entire video budget on 2 songs in the intro alone, let's get behind the wheel. Now I admit, I'm not a Taycanologist, but there do seem to be a lot of Taycan models available. In fact, if you look on the Porsche website, there are no fewer than 8 variations of the Porsche Taycan. So what makes this one different? Well, for that, I'm going to need the official Porsche blurb and some footage from the Porsche Media Gallery. The Taycan Cross Turismo embraces your lifestyle with an enlarged rear luggage compartment and even more spacious interior. Its bold capability is further highlighted by the characteristic accents of the off-road design package. So basically it's got a bigger boot, some more space and some off-roady accents, but part of the reason I quite like driving a Porsche Taycan again, and this is going to bring out my inner narcissist, is that I like a car that turns heads. I know that makes me seem like a shallow person, but let's be honest, part of the reason you buy a supercar like this is because of the attention factor, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just like the way it feels. It's a driver's car. It's got that low slung seat. You're sitting in the car. You're not on top of it. You're not riding it. You are part of the machine. It's got that hard steering wheel, that angry angular dashboard that curves around you. It wants to be driven hard, and I'm really looking forward to getting this thing out into the countryside. It's just a treat. If you get the chance to drive one of these, take it up. Immediately, it just feels like nothing else. And I'm not being paid to say this. Porsche don't care if I like or loathe the car, but what's there not to like? I mean, what a machine. Let's talk performance, because this is a performance car. It has 360 kilowatts at its disposal, but if I were to put it onto boost mode, that ramps up to 420 kilowatts and 650 newton meters of torque, and I'm going to demonstrate that very soon. As I mentioned, this car has a 0 to 100 time of 4.1 seconds and a quarter mile time of 12.2 seconds, which means that it is quicker than that, and that, and that, and even that. And I know what you're thinking, yeah, but that last one, it's a big heavy car, yeah, but it's still got a 6.6 litre twin turbo V12 engine, and it's only actually half an American heavier than this. So no matter which way you look at it, no matter how many bits you stick on combustion cars, turbochargers and superchargers and planing the heads and polishing the ports and all that faff, it's still losing out to what is basically a family car with 2 watermelon-sized electric motors. So no matter which way you look at it, the combustion age, it's over. And I, for one, welcome our new electric overlords if they're anything like this. Oh, I want to put my foot down, but there are laws, people. There are laws. The fun police will be after me very quickly. I mentioned at the start of the video that this thing is a beast. It is 2.2 tons and it's that much shy of 5 meters long. You might think that makes it a bit lurchy and lethargic, but obviously not. Because of its low center of gravity, it sticks to the road like no other Porsche you've driven, I promise you. Get behind the wheel and you'll experience it. Like this corner here, obviously I'm not going to go fast because it's a populated area, but effortless around that corner. It sticks to the road like the proverbial to the blanket. It is insane. It's funny, this car is changing my psychology, because I drive a regular little hatchback and it's pretty boring, but it's the sort of car that I don't care if people bang their doors into it. But driving this, I don't want to say I feel better than everyone else, but I feel better than everyone else. Yep, this pure electric Taycan was turning out to be a bit like automotive Prozac, and because of a stupidly long list of options, it's unlikely that any two Taycans will ever be produced the same. This is a Porsche, to state the obvious, which means it has a plethora of available upgrades that you can buy. One of my favorite is the noise generator. Now, I'm not normally a fan of noise generators. I find them kind of superfluous. Until I drove the Taycan GTS, and it changed my perspective on noise generators. For example, if I change the driving mode by turning this dial on the steering wheel from normal to sport, and then again to sport plus, hear the noise? That fake engine noise just got angrier and louder. And I know it's not real, in the same way that a horror movie isn't real, but you still get scared and you still get the hair on your arm raising in this electric car with the noise generator. And when it's coupled with the 2-speed gearbox on the rear axle, which I'll demonstrate when I'm outside of Auckland, it is an experience that I've never experienced in any other electric car. At least it was with the GTS. Is it going to be the same in the 4S Cross Turismo? Find out. First, we've got to get out of Auckland. This car also has heaps of optional upgrades, such as this $3,000 panoramic glass roof. Looks amazing. Lets a bit of light in because it is a dark interior. And speaking of dark interior, I have never seen so many color options when it comes to choosing the interior colors and fabrics in a car as I have with this car. You can get not only black and grays and silvers and coffee and cream and beige, my favorite, but you can also get brown. I know you're thinking, wait, isn't brown an outdated color? In a Porsche Taycan, brown leather, I promise you, will never go out of style. It will always look good. The 4S Cross Turismo has gadgetry like you'd expect at this price point, such as lane keeping assist and adaptive cruise, and on range mode with the suspension slightly raised, it's an absolute dream to drive on the motorway. And as for personalization, for that I grabbed a coffee and met with a good mate of mine to run through some of the options. Hey, how you going? Alright, I want to talk to you about functions and gadgets that this car has. It is loaded with them. Let's take a look. We have, in terms of gadgetry and functions, we have the same controls I can control here by the steering wheel knob. I can also control here through the screen, so I can create my own customized individual profile. And that, I think, is one of the things that makes this car feel more like a car and less than an appliance. As for comfort, I can fiddle around with the ambient lighting. Sure, I can turn on the lights, but I can also change the color of the ambient lighting throughout the car. So I can go from warm white to or a dark orange, more like a brown potato-y color. Got Atlantis and topaz blue, and if I really want, lime green. Basically, this thing has more colors than a 90s windbreaker. Of course, I can also adjust the individual shades. I can have the doors brighter than the footwell, etc. It goes on and on and on. It's incredibly customizable. I can also change the driver's seat heating and ventilation balance, so I can have it cool on one butt cheek, warm on the other. It's incredible. Oh, speaking of which, down here on this display, everything's haptic feedback. So if I turn something on, that dun 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 also feeds back into my finger, so it feels like I'm actually pushing a button. That's something missing on a lot of car makers that have large displays. They don't have that haptic feedback. I've also got ventilated seats. It can whisk away any flatulence before guests even know. Of course, I've got seat heating. Wow, that really works. That's cooling things down. Crikey. As well as information on the battery, you've also got the preheat and pre-cool option, so that when you remote unlock, it will also automatically bring the cabin up to temperature or down to temperature. Honestly, this thing is endlessly customizable, and my advice to anyone who buys one of these, for example, if you buy one, spend some time, spend 20 minutes to set everything up the way you like it. And a byproduct of that is that you will form a bond with this car. It's not just an appliance, it becomes yours with all of that customization. So you're gonna buy me one of these or what? When you start pulling your weight, yeah, Fun. Gotta find me another sugar, Gavin. But enough talk about options. It's time to get this thing out of the city to test launch control and check its 0 to 100 time and its handling on a superb newly discovered driving road I'd found. Okay, road's clear. Okay, we're in Sport Plus mode. I'm going to put my foot on the brake, my other foot on the accelerator, push it down until launch mode is activated, and then let go. We're ready. Oh, that was wicked. Did you hear the gearbox change? I heard it change, and there's a little kick as it changes as well. Oh, I will never get sick of that, man. Oh, I absolutely love this thing. But what's it like on the corners? Let's find out. Oh man, this thing, the response, the feedback from that sound generator. If you're thinking of buying one, make sure you get that sound generator package. It'll raise the hair on your arms. It's an overused cliche, but hair raising is a great way to explain this car. When was the last time you drove a car that gave you this goofy facial expression? This is wicked. I don't want to give this car back. Gosh, even on wet roads, this thing is sticky. Problem is, I've got speed limits, and there are other people on these roads, so you're really doing the car a disservice if you're not taking it on the track at least a little bit. I not only love this car, but I love this road. I didn't know about it until now, and I'm not going to tell you where it is, because then you might be here every weekend, and this is my road. Problem is, I'm trying to convey what I'm feeling into words, and I don't know if it's coming across. But if you get the opportunity to drive one of these things, get out of the city. Get to the secret location and give it a blast through these empty country roads. Look at that, wind turbine. I hope they're with Ecotricity, putting power back into the grid. And if you didn't know, you can join Ecotricity at ecotricity.co.nz and have your own homegrown power fed back into the grid. But if you don't want to, that's okay. You can use Ecotricity's electricity to power your house and your car like this thing, and it's entirely carbon zero certified. Ecotricity's electricity only comes from solar, wind and hydro right here in New Zealand. So that's the plug, ecotricity.co.nz. Oh, that noise, I know it's not real, but I love it. Honestly, Porsche has sold me on the idea of artificial noise to accompany the electric motor. Before this, before I drove Porsche, I was a bit of an artificial noise snob. I said, no, you don't need those artificial noises, they're fake. Ah, Porsche, you've changed my opinion, man. Well, I guess I'd better head up to the charger and see what kind of charging speed this thing gets. If it's anything like the driving experience, it's going to be quick. And with the battery sufficiently low, I stopped in at one of the hyper-rapid chargers to grab this German beast, some clean Kiwi electricity. Alright, these are the DC rapid chargers, hyper-rapid chargers, which ChargeNet installed, and I can drive straight and forwards. Now on this car we've got AC charging on the right-hand side, and DC charging on the left-hand side, and I need DC charging. Let's go a little bit closer forwards, and oh, the rain's stopping. Oh, thank heavens. One of these days, I'm going to get to this charger, and it won't be absolutely bucketing down. Okay, so in this side we have AC and DC. This makes the CCS plug, and these high-power DC chargers have 2 CCS plugs and 1 CHAdeMO, and they can charge 3 cars at once. And to use it is pretty straightforward. You can either use your mobile app or swipe your ChargeNet key fob, and it'll ask which charging plug do I want to use. Well, I want to use CCS. That's what most cars use these days. It'll illuminate blue to take the CCS plug, and you simply plug in the car. And that's it. The charger does the rest. So it is charging at, right now, 192 kilowatts. That is wickedly fast. That is like a busy suburban street's power all running through that network cable right now. This thing is chomping down the power right now. At peak charging speed, this Porsche can take 270 kilowatts, which means you can put 100 k's of range into the battery pack in 4.5 minutes. Another way of saying it is that in 20 minutes time of charging, you can have 400 kilometers put into the battery pack. I mean, that's brilliant. If you were to drive a gas car, after 400 k's you need to stop to refuel and take a leak. You can do all of that in the same time with a Porsche. If you were to charge at home, however, using a wall-mounted charger, such as these ones from EVNex, full disclosure, they did buy me a box of tea, so I guess I am corrupt now, then you'd be looking at about 57 k's an hour charging speed at 11 kilowatts. However, the car can take much more. This car can take up to 22 kilowatts of AC power, which means you'd be looking at a full charge in about 4 hours with 22 kilowatts. That is pretty impressive. And that's it. I now have more than enough power to carry on my journey. I have 70% charge, so I'm going to unplug and then head north for one final test. For the final test, I'm addressing the noises I involuntarily make when getting in and out of the car to find if it's really an issue or if I'm just being overly dramatic. Oh God, it's not easy to get in and out of. So I employed the services of someone of Porsche buying age. All right, so this is my grandmother. Yeah. So can you tell me, in your honest opinion, if this is a car suitable for, how old are you now?
87.
87. Is this car suitable for an 87-year-old to get in and out of? So be honest. Let me close this door. Oh, you get it easier than I do.
Perhaps it's meant for shorter people.
I think you might be right. Oh, okay, all right.
Or for someone who's done 17 years of Tai Chi.
Oh, yeah, no, you've got that up on me. She's showing me up. Oh, see? That's the noises I've been making. And I thought that while I had a captive audience, I might as well show my Nana launch control in an electric Porsche. Hold on, put your head back.
Oh, God. Oh, I don't think I could handle too much of that.
Oh, I really do like this job. But it has its difficulties, such as trying to summarize this incredible four-wheeled machine without this unbiased review sounding more like a flat-out advertisement, and that's how much I loved it. I wish there were more problems with this car. I wish there were more things wrong with it, because this is starting to sound more like an advertisement for Porsche than an honest, unbiased review. But the problem is it's an excellent car and it makes me feel good. Ah, Porsche, what have you done to me? You've broken me. I do not want to give this car back tomorrow morning. I do not want to give it back.